For centuries, alchemists tried to transform base metals into gold. Their obsession with gold took many forms, and by the 16th century the metal was being used in surprising and dangerous ways. Joël Poupon is a toxicologist. Today he's a forensic detective on the hunt for alchemical secrets in a grave in Normandy. The grave belonged to Diane de Poitiers, a famous beauty who wanted to stay that way.
We are now going to the Chateau of Danette, where she lived, and especially to visit the chapel where she was buried when she died in 1566.
She had many lovers, but Henry II of France was the love of her life, and she became his official mistress. He gave her the money to build this chateau, and when Henry died, his wife Catherine de Medici banished Diane from court, so she died here in luxury but obscurity. Alchemists often also acted as the apothecaries who dispensed recipes for health and lifelong beauty to wealthy people like Diane. Asiatic musk, rubies, spider webs and earthworms, sealed earth from Armenia, East Indian resins, as well as ambergris, frog spawn and scorpion oil. And just as much as the traditional animal material and plants, the apothecaries used metals such as mercury and gold, both as medicine and as beauty therapy.
J'ai pas compris, la tapisserie, donc c'est...
Cette tapisserie a donc été faite par Diane de Poitiers et les dames de sa cour au petit point.
Et alors donc le lit, donc ce fameux lit, il apparaît pas très large hein, finalement.
Non.
Pour les débats amoureux,
voilà.
C'était pas très correct. Oui.
Pathologist Philippe Charlier's day job involves dissecting the bodies of the recently dead. But he joined Joël Poupon to study Diane's 16th century body and bones.
Deuxième scapula. Il n'y en a pas de troisième, c'est rassurant. La fibula est remise avec la fracture.
When she died, she was interred in this magnificent sarcophagus at Annette. But during the French Revolution, she was seen as a symbol of the decadent aristocracy. Her tomb was desecrated and her mummified body was dumped in a common grave in a cemetery outside the chateau walls, where it remained until 2008.
So we came here last year with Philippe and we dug a big hole here, just here, and we found a lot of bones.
De toute façon, tu avais envie de te faire un jacuzzi ce soir, non?
We found most of the rest of Diane de Poitiers approximately here, notably the legs.
Et là maintenant, c'est un fémur.
And the fragments of her head, the jaw, was found around here.
C'est bon? On appelle une mandibule sénile.
So very separate.
But how can we be sure that these are the bones of the king's mistress?
Diane de Poitiers was really exceptional in the French 16th century because she had an athletic way of life. She was swimming every day into the little river close to the castle of Annette, and she was also practicing horse riding. And 2 times she fell from the horse and she broke one leg.
If the bones show clear evidence of a broken leg, that would be a strong indication that they have the right remains.
One of the most important bones are the tibia and the fibula. On these both bones, you can see the fracture, the old trauma. We just have a little indentation in the cortical of this long bone, here and here, which testify of this old trauma, but the healing was particularly good. And this lesion, we know it from historical chronicles about Diane de Poitiers and all her life in Annette. One of the most important scientific processes was the radiographical examination in the hospital Pitié-Salpêtrière in Paris. We wanted to have the confirmation of the trauma into the leg. So we made a CT of all the bones, all the body of Diane de Poitiers. And we saw very clearly the trauma of the leg, both on tibia and fibula.
Despite the dangers, Diane's very modern approach to exercise may have helped her stay attractive to the king. In the Louvre Museum there's a famous statue of her in the role of Diana the Huntress.
This statue is very important for us because if the face is not absolutely the good one, all the rest of the body is probably like the body of Diane de Poitiers, like a copy of her body. It's not natural size, it's just upper size, but really we can find the legs, the foot, the chin, the breast, everything, all the parts which were important for us during our scientific process. The trauma on one leg, which was approximately here on the statue. It's exactly as we were looking at the ghost of Diane de Poitiers. The name of the surgeon is Ambroise Paré, one of the most important surgeons in the French 16th century, because he was very intelligent and he had a strong practical intelligence, in fact. Ambroise Paré is very well known with the history of Diane de Poitiers, because first of all, he was the healer of all the trauma of Diane de Poitiers. But after, when Diane de Poitiers died, Ambroise Paré was the surgeon who made the embalming of the cadaver, of the body of Diane de Poitiers.
Just like Diana the Huntress, Diane's symbol was the crescent moon. And interlocking crescent moons have been carved all over the chateau and on her grave.
During the archaeological excavation, we did not find any hair and we did not find any archaeological organic tissue, in fact, close to the skeleton of Diane de Poitiers. It was only bones, just bones. But the hairs we studied were in fact conserved into the castle of Annette.
Donc c'est le fameux médaillon qui contient la mèche de cheveux de Diane, c'est cela?
Oui.
These hairs have been kept from the French Revolution when a revolutionists wanted to take the hairs of Diane de Poitiers. He took not only the hairs but also a large part of the skull, which was still in his hand.
Joël Poupon used the latest techniques to examine the hairs left in the chateau. And he made an extraordinary discovery. They were full of gold.
Here you have the results of gold in the hair of Diane de Poitiers. And the concentration of gold in this hair is very high. Apothecaries used to make gold-based remedies, as you can find some of them in this book dated 1663. What it looks like, this is a modern gold solution. It has a very nice yellow color, very attractive color. In fact, drinkable gold is a wide notion that covers a lot of gold remedies, starting from almost pure water, containing no gold at all, but only the spirit of gold, to a true gold solution.
During the French 16th century, when you go to the apothecarist to take some gold wasser, in fact you take it because you want to stay always young. We know that she took gold to stay eternally beautiful.
Little did she know that the potions she purchased, far from preserving her beauty, were going to damage and weaken her.
she had to take it daily, sometimes in alcoholic beverage or wine, but only few drops, of course. And it was yellow-colored solution of gold, and we think that it was this kind of solution that Diane de Poitiers took.
There is a relation between the inalterability of gold and the inalterability of the body. So you drink gold to be as inalterable as gold.
The power of the sun, it was in the gold, and if you take gold, you catch the power of the sun.
But its looks belie its true nature. It's a killer.
So this is a vertebra. It belongs to Diane de Poitiers. I will remove some of the residues of tissues that are on the bone. So you can see I remove some of the brown deposit here. And you can see the white bone, very nice. We found gold but also mercury in the tissue residues, and we know that mercury was used by alchemists to prepare gold recipes.
So what did these potions really do to Diane's health?
We saw some stress on the face of Diane de Poitiers and also on her body. For example, the hairs was very, very fine, much more smaller than the normal size. This is a secondary effect of chronic gold poisoning. This gives you very white skin. Also hairs which are very fragile, which can break very easily. It can give you also a fragility of bone, a fragility of tooth. So she died in a very fragile way of life.
So next year, these bones will be back to the Castle of Annette where she was.
In fact, they will be reburied in the chapel at Annette, exactly where she was buried when she died. So now that the French revolutionaries and the French scientists have had their way with her, Diane will soon rest in peace again in the chateau.
Que j'ai servi.